What if one of football's greatest talents never lost chunks of his prime to injuries? What would Neymar's ceiling have looked like if every spring was his to own?
I'm Leah, feeling excited today.
And I'm Garrett, really curious about this topic. Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett.
Today, we're diving into the incredible and sometimes controversial world of Neymar, the Brazilian footballer who blends street flair with elite playmaking. Buckle up, because his story has highs, lows, and some wild turns. I remember watching the 2017 comeback people call La Remontada. That's Barcelona's 6-1 win over Paris Saint-Germain to overturn a 0-4 first-leg deficit in the UEFA Champions League, which is Europe's top club tournament. Neymar was electric, 2 late goals and then the assist for the winner. I had chills, like this is legacy stuff in real time.
All right, let's set the stage for this one. Neymar da Silva Santos Jr., born in 1992, and is Brazilian. He plays as a forward or attacking midfielder, which means he either operates out wide or centrally to create and finish chances. He's Brazil's all-time leading men's scorer with 80 goals, and he played in 4 World Cups. Club-wise, he rose at Santos FC in Brazil, then Barcelona in Spain, then Paris Saint-Germain in France, spent a short spell at Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia, and as of 2026, he's back at Santos. That's pretty cool, right?
And stylistically, he's loved for dribbling and creativity. That close control comes from futsal, which is a small-sided indoor version of soccer, emphasizing quick touches and tight spaces. He can beat defenders, slip passes, and score, the whole package. But injuries have been a recurring theme, especially foot and ankle issues like metatarsal injuries, which affect the long bones in your foot and are brutal for acceleration and planting. That contrast of brilliance and fragility kind of defines the conversations around him.
Let's dig into his journey. Starting point, Santos FC, nicknamed Peixe, which means fish. It's the club of Pelé, who is a Brazilian legend, and later Robinho, Neymar's childhood idol. Neymar debuted at 17 in 2009 and became a national sensation. By 2011, he led Santos to the Copa Libertadores, which is South America's Champions League, and he was named the tournament's best player. That win echoed the Pelé era. He also scored that famous solo goal against Flamengo in 2011 that won the FIFA Puskas Award, the annual prize for the best goal worldwide. Pure audacity.
Here's where it gets really interesting. In 2013, he moved to Barcelona, the Spanish powerhouse. The deal later had legal twists because Barcelona first reported a lower fee and then revealed a higher total, including payments to his parents. That transparency fight led to tax-related charges for club officials. On the field, he joined Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez. That trio was called MSN. Messi is an Argentine playmaker and scorer. Suarez is a Uruguayan striker with elite finishing. Together, they won the 2014-15 treble, meaning League, Domestic Cup, and Champions League in the same season. Neymar even scored in the final against Juventus. That's peak.
And he was monstrous in that Champions League run. He became the first player to score in both quarterfinal legs, both semifinal legs, and the final in one season. Also, during a Messi injury spell in late 2015, Neymar basically carried the attack for a stretch. People were like, is he the best in the world right now? He finished 3rd in the Ballon d'Or voting in 2015, which is the Global Player of the Year award, and he hit the podium again in 2017.
Then came 2017 and the move that shook everything. Paris Saint-Germain, or PSG, activated his release clause. That's a contract number that lets a player leave if paid, and it was €222 million, the largest transfer fee ever. The idea was to be the number 1 star and win the Champions League with PSG. Early in Paris, he was dazzling. Goals, assists, and in January 2018, a match so perfect, the French newspaper L'Équipe gave him a rare 10 out of 10 rating after he had 4 goals and 2 assists against Dijon. That rating almost never happens.
But this is where the story bends. Late February 2018, he suffered a right foot metatarsal injury. He missed the second leg against Real Madrid in the Champions League, and PSG went out. A similar foot issue hit again in early 2019. He also got a short UEFA suspension for insulting VAR officials on social media after a dramatic elimination, and there was that incident after the 2019 Cup final when he appeared to punch a spectator. Those off-field flashpoints plus injuries made the Paris chapter feel chaotic.
Let's unpack this. Why did the perception turn so sharply? He was still producing when fit.
Availability, not ability. Per minute, he was elite, but he missed over 100 matches for PSG. Fans also felt stung by a 2019 attempt to leave, and booing followed. Yet, flip side, in 2020, he was the engine as PSG reached their first ever Champions League final. He helped knock out Atalanta and RB Leipzig, and was brilliant against Bayern despite the 1-0 loss. Coaches like Arsene Wenger, the longtime Arsenal manager, praised him as the best player in that knockout stretch. So the body of work is strong, but fragmented by injuries.
And tactically, he evolved. At Barcelona, he often started wide left next to Messi and Suarez, while at PSG, he drifted into the number 10 role, the central creator behind the striker. He took more touches in the build-up, made more progressive passes, and handled set pieces. He still racked up 100-plus goals for PSG and tons of assists. Few players have hit 100 or more goals for 3 different clubs. He did that with Santos, Barcelona, and PSG. The unfortunate part was that ankle and foot issues kept recurring.
After 2022, PSG formed MNM, that's Mbappé, Neymar, and Messi. Kylian Mbappé is a French striker with blistering pace. Expectations were sky high, but 2023 brought a season-ending ankle injury in February while he was actually in great form. That summer, with a squad overhaul, he moved to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. Al Hilal is a historic club backed by major investment, and the move symbolized how football's financial center of gravity is shifting. He scored in Asia, but then tore his ACL, the anterior cruciate ligament in the knee, on international duty in October 2023. That wiped out his season.
By early 2025, his contract there ended by mutual agreement. Then came the homecoming. He returned to Santos, took the number 10 shirt which Pelé made iconic, and immediately lifted the mood around Vila Belmiro, their compact home stadium. He was man of the match on his re-debut, scored a penalty and assisted next time out, and even scored an Olympico. That's a goal directly from a corner kick, which is not common at all. There were more injury pauses and even a red card, but he produced decisive goals, including a late-season hat-trick in December 2025, and extended his deal through 2026.
Internationally, he debuted for Brazil's senior team at 18, won the 2013 Confederations Cup Golden Ball, captained Brazil to its first men's Olympic gold in 2016, and finished with 80 international goals, surpassing Pelé's recognized tally. He played in 4 World Cups from 2014 to 2026 and announced his international retirement in 2026. That's a career arc with both glitter and grit. Legacy is secure, even if the Ballon d'Or crown never landed.
Okay, let's move on to one of the spiciest questions. Was that Al Hilal transfer the worst in football history? I hear that take a lot. On field, it's hard to defend. Limited appearances, 1 goal and a few assists, then a torn ACL and a mutual exit. From a pure sporting return perspective, that's rough. Fans paid to see him and barely got a glimpse.
I get that, but I'm not fully sold on the worst label. Why? Because the move wasn't only about match output. Al Hilal and the league were buying global attention, sponsor interest, and credibility, and he did contribute to the club's profile spike and a title season, even if he barely played. If the objective includes brand building and league development, then the calculus shifts. That said, for fans measuring goals in minutes, yeah, it stings.
Real talk, both can be true. Commercial splash worked, sporting impact did not. For me, labels like worst ever ignore context. Injuries happen, and they're not moral failings. Still, I totally get supporters who feel shortchanged. It's a lesson in risk. When you sign a superstar with a history of recurring injuries, you're paying for peak moments you might not get consistently.
Speaking of which, Neymar's always lived in pop culture. He was on Time magazine's cover in 2013 as the next Pelé, while still playing in Brazil, which almost never happens for a player outside Europe. And MSN at Barcelona, that was more than a front line. It was a global phenomenon. the trio that flooded timelines with highlight reels. His brand has always been half art, half edge.
If there's a film about his life, I want the soundtrack to swing from street football beats during the Santos years to an orchestral swell for La Remontada, then to something moody and layered in Paris when injuries hit, and back to bright percussive rhythms when he returns to Villa Belmiro. It would capture the duality, entertainer and match winner, fragile and fearless.
All right, counterfactual time. What if he never got hurt in early 2018 before that Real Madrid tie? If he plays that second leg, I think PSG at least have a coin flip to advance. They had momentum, and he was in terrifying form. If they knock out Madrid, that changes the bracket. Maybe PSG ride that wave deep, maybe all the way.
If PSG win the Champions League in 2018, that's a legacy earthquake. Neymar's Ballon d'Or chances jump immediately. Those awards often hinge on spring knockout moments. He might not have felt the same pull to leave or to publicly clash with fans later. A winning environment can soften everything. And for Madrid, losing that round could have reshaped their own cycle. Fewer consecutive European titles, different summer moves.
There's also the team shape angle. In 2018, PSG were still integrating star power around a midfield that needed a true playmaking hub. With Neymar healthy, he was that central conduit, short wall passes, disguise, tempo setting. He draws double teams, freeing Kylian Mbappe's runs in behind. One or two sequences can flip a tie. I'm down for that hypothesis. A fit Neymar could have been the difference.
And if that happens, the narrative around his Paris years changes from what might have been to what was. Leader of the first PSG European title. He still has a stack of trophies, but that one ring defines eras. Instead, we got a near miss in 2020 and more injury breaks. Sometimes careers hinge on a single foot bone holding up at the right time.
So there we have it. Peaks that touch the sky and setbacks that shape the story just as much.
Stay curious, and thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, that's a wrap for this one. Catch you next time.